Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Nina and this is my January book wrap-up. I only read 2. It's Howl's Moving Castle and The X-Talk. I'm almost done with this book, Last Chance Books. Just haven't finished it because I've been struggling doing school and this. Howl's Moving Castle. So obviously there's a movie, but it was based on the book. And Sophie, she's the eldest in her family, eldest child of 3. And in this realm, the eldest is sort of like the least successful. So that's what she believed she was. And her dad died. So all the sisters had to go work. The 2 younger ones went to different places and they ended up switching without anyone knowing. And then Sophie, she kept working in her dad's hat shop because that's what she was really good at. And also, it was deemed for her because she was the least successful of the 3. And one day, the Witch of the Waste walks into her hat shop and ends up turning her into this old lady. And the thing about the curse, she can't really tell anyone, but her family can't see her like this because they'll ask all sorts of questions. So she just starts walking into like the far lands, and then eventually she encounters a scarecrow, and she fixes the scarecrow because it's kind of laying down. And then she eventually finds Howl's Moving Castle. It's like this. In the movie it looks different, not Sophie. And then she gets inside and she becomes their new cleaning lady as a sort of deal to stay there. Inside in the fireplace there's a fire demon. His name is Calcifer, and he's bound to Howl, which is a wizard, by a curse. And he also can't say anything about the curse, any of the details. So he and Sophie make a deal so that she tries to break his curse so that Calcifer can help her break the curse. And so she's basically there just cleaning and stuff. And then Howl, in the book, he's a real coward. He's always running from things. He has to trick himself into doing things by saying he won't. And all the while Sophie is there, she's like seeing things, observing, breaking Calcifer's spell. There's Howl's apprentice, Markle, and he basically lives there. And he's in love with Sophie's sister, Letty, but it's actually technically his other sister. She can't really, I don't think it's Margaret, but then Howl's in love with his other sister, whose name is actually Letty. And then she goes and spies on him. And during this whole book, there's just a lot of different spells, a lot of things going on. It was really interesting. I really liked it. In the end, so Sophie, she's also kind of like a witch because if she talks to something, like she has a cane, she talks to that. And when she was gardening, and she talks to it and tells it to do something. Like she was gardening and she would tell the flower to be beautifully full or something like that. Then it will happen because whatever she says, if she speaks it with conviction, then it will come true. In the end, Sophie ends up breaking Howl's and Calcifer's curse, and then in the process, her curse gets broken. Then Howl and Sophie, as mismatched as they are, end up together. I really like this book. It's way different from the movie, but equally good. Then The X-Talk. I really like this one. Shay, she has been working at a radio studio for 10 years. Maybe more, 10 plus years. And then Dominic, he started working there like 6 months ago. And she doesn't like him because he thinks he knows everything about journalism because he had a degree at a really good school that he talks about nonstop. She also really wants to talk on the radio, but she's there as just a producer. And then he gets to talk on the radio just 6 months in because he has like a story. And she really envies that. And then in a meeting that was for senior staff only, which she had become, he was also invited to. And she gave the idea of a radio show where two exes talk about how they're like working through things. And her boss really liked that idea. And everyone in the radio station can see that Dominic and Shay like have this, I guess, banter / chemistry, but it's mostly because they like don't like each other. So their boss thinks that they would be perfect for the job since they don't really like each other. And she convinces Dominic to do it because she really wants to be on the radio. And to do that, they have to get to know each other. And then as they do that, she starts noticing, wait, I don't hate him as much as I thought I did. And then they start being friends, kind of, because he moved there 6 months ago and he doesn't really have friends. And she's lived in Seattle all her life. She only has like a friend or two. And then things go casual. Then she's like, wait, I kind of want this to be serious, but I don't know if he wants to be serious. So she breaks it off. They're both miserable. She just dives into her work to keep her distracted. And then one day he has to talk because they're going to do a live show of the X Talk, and he wants them to be on good terms at least. And then he's like saying like, I don't know what happened. And she's like, I don't see what the problem is. And then they realize that they both like each other. So then they start dating. And then when they get to the place where they're going to do the live show, they decide that they're going to tell their fans that they got back together so as to keep the integrity of the show, but also so that they don't have to hide that they're together. And their boss does something really, not sketchy, but really rude, and posts something like, to our fans, I'm sorry, but the X Talks was a lie. They're not actually exes, they never dated. And he did that because the X Talk was really taking off and other people were trying to poach them, especially because the radio station, this was like their ticket to more success because they were kind of low on like success and money. They were letting people go. So instead of letting them get poached, the boss makes an announcement to the fans, and this really lets their fans down, but they didn't know that their boss did that. So when they're on the live, they're really confused. Dominic has stage fright. If he's like on the radio talking, he's fine because he doesn't see anyone, but he's there live. And Shay, she's trying to calm things down, like saying, yes, it was a lie in the beginning, but we actually like each other now, like we're dating. And then at the live, people can like come up to the microphone and then ask questions, and they're like, is this true? And Dominic, he's just frozen, and he gets up and leaves. This really pisses Shay off because she was embarrassed. And then her producer, who she's friends with, didn't know that they were fake exes. She was kind of sad. But then when she starts talking to her boss and asking, why did you post that and stuff, he explains that people were trying to poach them. And she's like, why didn't you just make us into a podcast? Because her boss's bosses were giving him heat because they thought this wasn't really a radio thing. And in the end, he was trying to keep Dominic because he's kind of sexist, and she's so fed up with it. He says we only have room for a couple of people, and Dominic, he's a journalist, so he can do a lot of things. So it's gonna have to be between you and your producer. And she's so angry. She's so enraged. She's tired of his crap. She's like, you know what? I don't give a crap. I don't care. I'm done. I quit. She says that her producer can have the job if she wants it. She leaves. She goes back to the hotel room that she and Dominic were sharing. He's just there calmly packing his clothes. And she's like, "Oh, nice to see you." Obviously sarcastically, but then she starts yelling at him like, "What the heck? Where were you? I believe you left." And then she starts explaining what their boss did. And she's super angry. And then she starts angrily packing her stuff. And he's like, "I'm so sorry. I froze. I have stage fright, We can work this out." She's like, she's really angry. And she's so tired of everything that she's like, "You know what? I hope you have a good time at your job. Because you have a guaranteed one. And I just got fired." She leaves. She goes back home to Seattle. She doesn't talk to anyone. Not her family, not her friends, not Dominic. She basically just stays in her room a little with her dog, Steve. And then eventually she goes to her mom's wedding. Her mom's getting remarried because her dad died years ago. And then she sees her friend, which she had gotten into an argument with, and then she tells her everything. And then after that, she's on a job hunt. She's doing interviews and such. And then her old producer, she doesn't work at the radio station anymore. And they hang out because she forgives Shay for lying to her. And then the radio station that she used to work on, it comes on the radio. And her producer friend tells her to listen to it, and she doesn't want to, but then she's like, "Just listen to it." And she hears it, and it's Dominic. And he's saying how he messed up. And he's telling her, "I'm sorry. I'm in love with you. I made a big mistake." And she goes over to the radio station to see him. And then he goes up there to talk to him. But then she's on the radio because he's live. And they're just like, "Hey." And he's like, "I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Blah, blah, blah." He declared his love for her on the radio. And she's obsessed with the radio because her dad was obsessed with the radio. And she's so touched. And then he quits. She was also really mad that he went back to that job because it treated her so poorly. But he quits. And then they end up getting together. And then it skips to I think 3 months later. And he's moving into her apartment with her dog Steve and such. And in the end, they start a podcast by themselves. I think it's called Relationship Goals. It's not their job, it's their hobby. They're doing it on the side for fun. They're like, "We're sorry we lied to you, but we wanted to start anew. This is real now. We're dating. He just moved in." And stuff like that. And then the end. I really loved it. It was so sweet. And then Last Chance Book, I haven't fully finished it, but it's really good. Anyways, this was my January wrap up, these two. I'm almost done with that. And thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. Leave any comments if you want me to go into more depth about the books or any other books. If you want me to talk about specific books. And turn your notifications on. I'm going to try to post more. I'll see you next time.